See, federalism is a system for people who don't like each other. We have two choices when you're at this fork in the road. If the country is going to come apart, there's one of two ways it comes apart. One way it comes apart is through secession, through violence, through revolution, through civil war. If you studied these things, you're smart folks, you're here at YAF, I assume you've studied these things, they don't turn out well. We have a bad perception, a misperception of revolution and civil war in the United States of America because by God's grace, ours came out correctly. But if you look at the history of civil war and revolution, what happens is violence, bloodshed, death, famine, society slides backwards, and the worst people end up in charge. That's the normal process of a civil war or revolution. The most violent, the most angry, the most difficult, the most oppressive people end up winning. And so that's one way to do it. And by the way, I don't see how you split the country like that. We're here in Texas. I can tell you Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, El Paso, all the major population centers tend to be on the left and Democrat dominated. The rest of the states red. How do you divide that? I don't get that. That doesn't work. The other course is federalism. We return to federalism. See, federalism is a system for people who don't like each other. Right? It was designed for this moment specifically. The founders understood human nature and they said, federalism is the way that we get along. We face today an existential threat. The Communist Chinese Party, I would posit, is the greatest evil ever to face the world. Anybody who sugarcoats that for you doesn't understand what the Chinese are up to. I call them the Chinazis. There's really no different. They practice ethnic genocide. They intend world domination. They intend single race domination. This is evil. And there isn't a state in America or a part of the United States of America that can face off against that. We need all of us together. We're also facing against another ideology, which are the Islamo-fascists. Again, they intend world domination based on religion. One that people don't mention that often, which I think is really important, we in the United States, especially here in the Southwest, we're facing off against drug cartels. These are criminal cartels that are as well armed and as well trained as many armies in the world. So we face these existential threats. So if we go the revolution secession route, and I hear people suggest that we ought to do that, if we do that, we're in big trouble because we can't face off. So how do we get back to federalism? There is a way back to federalism. The founders gave it to us. They put it in the United States Constitution for us. Most people aren't aware of this. Article 5 of the Constitution gives us a way to go back to federalism. The first clause of Article 5 tells us how we amend the Constitution the way Congress has done it. Congress proposes an amendment. It takes 2/3 of both houses to propose an amendment. And then that amendment goes out for ratification by 3/4 of the states. That's the way we've gotten all 27 amendments. But they also put in there an Easter egg, something that we would find in time of need. And that Easter egg is the second clause of Article 5. And it says that the states can call a convention for proposing amendments. And specifically, they put it in there for a time when the federal government becomes a tyranny. Anybody in here think the federal government's a tyranny today? Yeah. Federal government is a tyranny. By the way, 72% of Americans say the federal government's too big and does too much. So the founders put it in there for a time just like this. And they said there's going to come a time, and we're going to count on you, the people, acting through your state legislatures, to call a convention to limit federal power, to take power away from the federal government and give it back to the people.